Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain the evolution of Televise and how I came up with the design for Televise. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Uh, what we're trying to accomplish is to be able to automatically create Quran recitation videos. The similar to the ones that you see on, for example, Merciful Servant on YouTube. It has the recitation. It has some kind of background video, like stock footage, and it has either the Arabic text or the translation or both. Now, uh, so the first knee-jerk reaction, or the simplest way to do this is you have some kind of a like a image editor or some kind of an automated image generation system. Like you can generate it using you can generate an HTML page and you can take a screenshot of the page programmatically, and then you can stitch those pages together, right? Uh, so or you can also have it generated with something like the Quran.com media maker, which uses a very similar approach, by the way. Now, the problem that you're going to run into here is when you go to long verses. Huh? Okay, so let's see. So this is the longest verse in the Quran. It's gonna clip. Okay, now let us see how Merciful Servant or the other videos, the other channels, they address this. They basically split the Arabic text or the translation if they're showing either one, or both if they're showing both. Um, but they have to make it match the recitation, what's actually being recited. So that's manual work essentially. And also, like this person might actually need to know a little bit of Arabic and the language if they want to make the translation match the recitation. Sorry, sorry. So that's a bottleneck, and that means that you cannot really have fully automatic video generation. Now, you could actually have you could have like uh, you could like run an experiment, and then you could see, okay, verses with these many words are clipping out, and then you can only edit those ones manually. But even that's not like it's not fully automatic, and that is significant because we are trying to produce videos at a massive scale here. Okay, one more one more approaches, which is what I used in an older version of this, which I don't think is public anymore. Or like if you know me, then you know that then you know that program. What that did was uh, I s- took the longest verse and I reduced the font size of both the text and the translation, and I found out the maximum font size at which the largest verse does not clip out of the screen, and like that was my minimum font size. So see, let us say the largest verse has 100 words, or the longest verse has 100 words, and at font size 10, if you set it to 11 pixels or 11 as a font size, then the uh, the video will clip out of the screen. But if you set it to 10, meaning 10 is the largest font size at which the longest verse does not clip out, this is gonna be my this is gonna be variable a, let's say. Okay, now we'll also we go to a medium verse, let us say 50 words, and we find out some font size, okay, let's say 12, and then we go to the largest verse, so the smallest verse, let us say maybe it only has 2 words or something, so that's going to be C, and let us say it works at 16 as well. And then we use some kind of like an intermediate function between these, like some kind of min max or some kind of clamp, or like that. Now this does work, but there's an issue. There's a couple of issues. Firstly, you could have like 50 words works at 12, uh, at a font size of 12. Now, uh, when we when we do the gradient function thing, let us say it gives 75 words font size of 11, but that might not actually work for 75. It might still clip out. and there's no real way to predict that, right? So that's one issue. Some words in some verses are larger than other words in other verses. That's also an issue. You could do character count, but even then, that's Arabic text. Firstly, if you're rendering using the glyphs, if you're rendering using KFG QPC glyphs, that's not going to work. But even if you somehow like use the actual Hafs text for counting and use the glyphs for rendering, even then you have harakat, you have tashkil, you have everything. So that's still not going to work. And even then, some letters can be larger or smaller than other letters. So yeah, that's not going to work. The only thing you can do is you can just add more breakpoints where you manually check. So you can check at 25, you can check at 75 manually, and but then this issue could still occur between these or between these. That's the first issue. Okay. Second issue. The second issue is that it does not look nice, right? Because let us say, by the way, Ayatuddin, right? It's very large. So if you, sorry, so if you reduce the size, it's gonna be illegible firstly, and also there's gonna be way too much text on the screen. By the way, even to fit the text on the screen is not really practical. Fitting the text and the translation is doubly impossible. So yeah, that is the issue with the second approach. So, mm, so yeah, first one was just blindly do it brute force. You get this issue. To fix this, you can use this approach, but that doesn't work either. What do you do now? Well, uh, when I made the older program, I was using stations from every IR.com, okay, which are split basically by verse. Or it has other splits as well, but the smallest one is verse. So each verse is a separate file. Okay. Um. So let us say if you want to render a complete chapter on one page, let us say Surat al-Buruj, Surat al-Ikhlas. Surat al-Ikhlas you can do. Surat al-Buruj you cannot. So what did you do? You split them into verses. Now, if you're unable to render a verse, then you can split it into words, right? So that was the foundation for lafdhais. That was the original inspiration for lafdhais. Even though, because of the way I have designed it in a Unix friendly manner, or Unix compatible, Unix in a Unix philosophy manner, uh, it can be used in multiple different places, right? By the way, okay, such as Tilawah, which is going to be my next significant project, right? You can just read the ecosystem part here. So Lafdais can help in this as well. What it does is it takes an audio file and it asks you what the contents of the file are. So it can have the awwad, it can have basmala, and it can have any of the verses. Now, and it's going to output this. So let us say from zero point 0.3 seconds to 1.2 seconds. This is in milliseconds, by the way. You have the awwad, then you have basmala, then you have chapter 85, verse 1, word 1, and so on. So this is what lafdhais gives you. Now, the limitation here is, of course, that you have to manually specify this bit. It's not just give an audio file and get the output back. Um, Now, detecting the recitation, it's slightly involved actually, because firstly, like firstly, you're not really guaranteed that the recitation is going to be continuous or in order. What if someone recites a chapter and then goes to the previous chapter, right? So like doing that kind of matching, I'm not sure how uh, to optimize that. So I'm looking into that. So yeah, uh, that's something that could be coming up, but for now we have to specify it manually. Okay, now let us come back to our original issue here. Let us say we have splits for each word. Now we are not gonna just show one word on screen, right? Otherwise, that doesn't make any sense. So what do is we decide that, let us say we're gonna have 12 words on screen. Let us say my screen can handle 12 words at this particular font size that I want. So I say I show 12 words on screen, and or at maximum 12 words on screen. This uh, leads to two more issues. The first one being that let us say words 1 through 10, they form one like sentence, or they are yeah, they form one sentence, or they are part of the same context. And word 11 onwards, it's a separate topic. And 11 to 16 has that topic, let's just say. Or it's a 11 to 16 is another sentence. If you just take 12 words blindly, you're gonna be showing half a sentence, and that's not optimal. First. Second issue is there's still the translation. So even if you have only two or five or six or whatever amount of words, it's not going to be possible to show the translation completely. And even if you were able to, like if you reduced the size of both and had only two or three or four or five words, it will still not be good because that's way too much text for a person to process. So what do we do now? Um, we have to split the translation as well. Okay. Now, uh, how are you going to split this? The knee-jerk reaction is that we split it on periods or like spaces. Okay, and each of those is a word. And then let us say, okay, let us say the video has the Arabic has 100 words, the translation has 200 words. How are you going to split it? How are you going to arrange it? Let us say my max words is 10, my total word length of the verse is 100, and my translation has 200 words. So for the Arabic, I'm going to show the first 10 words. For the translation, what am I going to do? I could show the first 10 words, but that doesn't make any sense because the total has 200 words. So I could show the first 20 words, right? Um, Sorry. So we basically would have to like show it in proportion to the total amount of words. If that makes sense, right? Again, two same issue that the Arabic text is not always semantically like coherent. You can have half of a sentence on a frame. That same issue is going to be repeated with the translation. You could have half of a sentence in a frame. That does not make sense. Also, what if it's a non-English language and it does not use spaces for differentiating, right? So that's the next issue that we're going to deal with. Now, what if someone said that we are gonna split the translation on periods or on what's called a sentence boundary, so that instead of having words, we have sentences. So, for example, let us say my translation has 8 sentences and my Arabic has 100 words and the max words is 10. So, for the first one, for the first frame or the first section, I'm gonna show words 1 to 10, and 1 to 10 is 10% of the total words, right? So I'm going to show 10% of the sentences. Here that would be zero point 0.8 sentences, which would be rounded off to 1, right? And then we just go do that and you have rounding off, and like we just fill in the gaps basically. Now, the problem here again, the Arabic text is still not necessarily coherent, and also this period or full stop thing is only going to work for English. So now, also, even in English, you have something like person could have written IE, Doctor, Mister, etc. And that's going to be considered as a sentence boundary. So sentence going to be like fruits, example, and then apples. Like these are going to be two separate sentences. Like if a sentence is this, then this is how it's going to be split. So that doesn't make sense, right? So what do we do now? By the way, for the splitting, so to fix this one issue of inappropriate split,